And welcome to another Cardinals Nest here on HBC-TV 25. I'm Dean Beckman along with Sports Information Director Donny Nadeau, back here with another Cardinals Nest. And today our feature is baseball. Nick Winecke, the head baseball coach, joining us here on the Cardinals Nest. Enemy number one of Mother Nature right now. Nick, you're not too happy with field conditions, snow still on the ground, and here we are early April. You're supposed to be playing home games as we tape this, but that's not going to be happening anytime too soon anyway.
Yeah, the field's just, we have about 70% snow cover in the outfield right now, so we're hoping Mother Nature helps us out here over the next couple days and we can get outside soon.
Nick, let's talk a little bit about that and as a coach, how you approach it with your players, because you look at yesterday, you're out there with your team, you know, shovels in hand, and you're hauling snow off of the outfield as best you can. How do you keep it to be a positive in that, you know, they don't get too down because they aren't able to get outside yet?
Yeah, I think it's tough. This, I think, will be our 44th or 45th practice inside. With already playing 15 games. So it makes it a little bit difficult in that way, but the guys have had a great attitude. They know, you know, when they show up, we got to get our work in and get going, and we just have to deal with it. So it's just how it works sometimes.
Well, and Nick, I know too, as a coach, I'm sure you know, you're a little bit anxious too to get some home games played. You know, you plan all off season, the players work hard, and you prepare in the off season for that first game, and then you can't get out there. At the same time, you have to model that positive attitude that you want the players to develop. So that all kind of goes with coaching, doesn't it?
Yeah, you just you almost have to put up a front. I'm probably as frustrated as they are too, but knowing that we have stuff that we need to get done at practice and we got to make the best of our situation, and we really don't talk too much about it. We just sort of just the way it is. I think more importantly, besides the games, is I think we just want to get outside and practice. Right now, we're sort of stuck in until we can get going, but hopefully this weekend we can get up to St. Paul and play a couple games. So,
you know, when you look at being stuck inside, certainly isn't ideal, but it is allowing you to get a lot of swings in. You know, the guys are getting a lot of work in. Is there anything you can do inside that you can't do outside that maybe you can benefit from having to be inside?
To me, I think it's just however you present it. I think that's the key thing. So if you go into it with a good attitude, you're going to get a lot out of it. If you go into it with a bad attitude, you're probably not going to get a whole lot out of it. So focus probably a little bit more on the fundamentals. You know, there's no way getting around it. We need to get out and we need to start doing some stuff outside.
You know, and not to keep hammering on indoor-outdoor, but I think the one thing that is a little different this year in past years is that this year it's everybody in the conference is dealing with the same thing. It's not just that the Max isn't up to par, ready to go. It's everybody in the conference is really in the same boat right now.
Yeah, there's a couple schools up in the Twin Cities areas that have a little bit better chance. They're going to be outside here right now. I think actually it's sort of odd. Concordia and us are kind of in the same situations, so you get the two far spectrums, but that's just how it goes. You know, that's just sometimes, a lot of times we're one of the first fields to be ready to go, and it's just working the opposite this year. So.
Well, and the good news is you have gotten some games in already. You're off to a 9-6 start, so let's take a look at the first part of the season here, Nick. And, you know, from a batting standpoint, you're hitting .322 as a team. The opponent's batting average below 300, so you're off to a good start here, a little up and down, but you had a good spring trip down there to Arizona and have come back and played a few games within the region as well.
Yeah, I think if you take a look at our overall competition of our teams that we've played, our losses have been quote-unquote good losses. They're against quality opponents, and that's, you know, you'd like to go against high-quality opponents whenever you can. And really, I thought we've played pretty well. We've come back from the trip a little bit. We've been a little bit inconsistent. So it'd be nice for us just to get into a little groove of getting into some games and getting into kind of a routine going. I think will help us out a little bit. So overall, I've been happy with what we've been able to do, but we got a lot of work still to be done. So
let's break it down a little bit even farther. Talk first off about the spring trip. You know, something the guys really look forward to, not just for the baseball, but also just the camaraderie of the group traveling. But I know as the coach, you had a lot of business that you wanted to get done and get taken care of. Talk a little bit about the trip and what you came back to Winona with in terms of your coaching belief.
Yeah, I think the trip went awesome for us. They just did a great job of battling every single day. We had 2 come from behind extra winning games, which I think speaks volumes for your team. We also had 2 JV games down there, so I think we learned a lot about our personality, what we do well, what we need to continue to work on. We were able to play a lot of different guys, and that's something that we've been able to consistently do through our dome games as well. So overall, the trip I think was a success. And it gave us an opportunity to really learn a lot about our team and gave us some ideas of what we need to continue to work on and get better at.
And then you went inside. Now, granted, you got to play because you went to the Dome. You played 6 games in the Dome. Talk a little bit about those games, because now you've got the team, kind of knowing where things are going, and then you move inside for 6 games against some very quality opponents.
Yeah, we opened up with Wartburg, who was picked to finish first in the Iowa Conference this year. We came out, we didn't play our best baseball. I thought we did an okay job. And then we followed up by Cornell, and I wasn't really happy with the way we played against them. And then we played much better against UW Superior last Thursday. So I think it's big for us. We just need to get into some kind of a little bit of a rhythm here. It's nice to have the break that we have, but it's pretty early. That's why having our non-conference games scheduled the way we were supposed to would have helped us out getting going here a little bit, but it sort of backfired. But that's just how it works.
Nick, you had talked about the trip, especially being able to find out what you do well, what you need to improve on. What are the things you think so far that you've seen that you've been very happy with?
Yeah, I think offensively we've done a pretty good job. I liked our approach offensively. We've been, for the most part, very consistent in what we're doing from an offensive standpoint. Actually, I think our pitching, I actually just projected this last week, if you take our pitching numbers, times them by 3, because we're already a third of the way out through the season, we come in better numbers-wise than we have in the last 5 years pitching. So that means our pitchers are doing a really good job. They work extremely hard. And defensively, I've been happy with how we played. You take away the first day down there. We got first day jitters, dropping balls, and a little nervous. But since then, we've been fielding the ball at a pretty elite level. So we just got to continue to work on all phases of the game, because we know that's going to be key for us. So.
And I know you're not a person that likes to single people out. It's a team game, and certainly understand that. But you do have some individuals that are, 3 of them that come to mind to me that are picking up right where they left off last year. Paul Lanassa and Kevin Gannon and John Schlemmer, had great seasons last year and really are picking it up this year and kind of leading the way in terms of offensive production.
Yeah, I think all 3 of them are doing a good job. We haven't had Schlemmer in the lineup here over the last week and a half. He's battling a hamstring injury. But I think hopefully we might have him back for this week, and we'll have to wait and see. But I really, there's been a lot of guys that have done a lot of nice things. A lineup really works together when you have protection in front and behind certain guys. And we've just had a lot of good at-bats. So we just got to keep on getting going. Those guys are some big parts of what we do, but there's a lot of other guys in that lineup that play a very, very important role.
Nick, you've had some great senior leadership this year. And, and I think one of the things that shows how Cardinals baseball, while you've been head coach, has really come a long way, just the size of the roster for one thing, so the number of players who want to be a part of it. What are some of the key components of Cardinals baseball philosophy that you really preach and try to instill in the players, of course, without giving away any secrets?
Yeah, no, I think it first and foremost starts with the culture that you've created within your program. And by culture, I mean the way that you act, how you go about your business, the way you treat one another. I think that's such a critical part that sometimes we overlook a lot of times or take for granted. So the overall culture, I think, is just so critical, having that. And with that culture comes a couple big beliefs. Number one, that the most important 4-letter word in our program's team, that's the be-all, end-all. And then the other thing is worrying about the process of getting better, not so much the results. So those are a couple big things that we speak a lot on, spend a lot of time on, and I think that it helps our guys be able to be successful.
You talk about that process, and really, if you look at last year, is a great example of that process, in that the conference season didn't start the way you would certainly hope it start, and yet you pick things up, and through the process you make it to the conference tournament. As you head into this year, talk of conference tournament certainly has got to be in everybody's mind, but how do you go through that process again, because they did that last year?
Yeah, for us, it's really just focusing on one day at a time, one pitch at a time. I know that's not what you guys probably want to hear, but I think that's the reality of it. We always talk about trying to stay off the emotional roller coaster. You're never as good as you think, you're never as bad as you think. Just stay even keel. And that's one thing that we've really worked hard with our position players and our pitchers with, is that a performance is not good or bad. It's good and bad. And when you look at it from that standpoint, you stay more consistent when you're looking at things. And I think the consistency mentally helps you out a ton.
Talk a little bit, I did mention a few names offensively, and really some of the newer guys have really stepped into some pretty big roles. Willie Dahl's having a great start. Steph Skatasa is doing a great job. There's just so many people that you've been able to put into different roles that have really kind of stepped up. And one of those people that is a name that not too many people really hear a lot of is Taylor Thellman. Has really kind of come on to do a nice job. And then Kyle Service behind the plate kind of waited his turn. Kurt Swanson graduated last year. Kyle kind of stepped in now as your #1 catcher and doing a great job. So you've got a lot of different people that are really kind of making the success of Cardinal baseball what it is.
Yeah, you can go right through the roster. You can add David Berry to that list. You can add Chris Anderson, Kevin Miley, Drew Denning. It goes on and on. Sam Nord, A.J. Ryder's on the mound. And then you have guys that really are just great team guys like Tommy Merkelis, who don't get to play a lot but are just a valuable part to our program and what our program's about. So it really, we've actually had a lot of injuries this year so far that a lot of people don't know about, and the reason is the guys that we've put in have actually just stepped up and played phenomenal for us. So it's from a coach's standpoint, it's exciting to watch our guys be able to do that. But I really do think without all 41 of them, 42 of them, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing. So.
And I got a firsthand look at that when we were in Tucson, and I think you're right in that. Baseball, there's 9 guys on the field, and yet your team, you don't have guys sitting on the bench pouting because they're not in the lineup. Everybody was supportive, and it is certainly a team atmosphere, and I think that is a real secret to the direction you guys are heading in, is that everybody is in this for the team.
Yeah, and it takes a lot of work. You can only play 9 at a time, and everybody wants to play, and everybody would like to play every inning or pitch every inning, but that's just not reality sometimes. I think the way that you can go about it is you just have to communicate with the players. I'm a big believer if you give them an opportunity to buy into something good, they will buy into it. If you just expect them and don't communicate, you never give them that opportunity. And that's when I think you have some issues internally. And we've been really lucky. We have some great leaders. We have layers of leadership, meaning it's just not only our seniors, but it trickles all the way down to having some great freshman leaders. I think just communicating really, really helps at times like this, and I think the guys have responded just awesome. So.
And you've got a lot of seniors, and we really keep speaking offensively, and one of the things that you got to look at is you've got a lot of senior leadership in your pitching staff, and it starts with Teddy Van Ranst and Justin Cronenbusch and Nord, and senior-wise, you're pretty laden with seniors in your pitching staff, and how do they approach being the leaders of that staff?
Yeah, I think they just do a good job of being consistent every single day, showing up to practice, working hard. That rubs off on all your other guys. So overall, I think as a whole group, the pitchers, position players, they just do a good job supporting one another, being great teammates. Understanding some days that offensively we're not going to have what we need to have, so we got to be great on the mound and vice versa. But I can't say enough. It's tough to pick out 1 or 2 guys. There's so many guys that do such a great job for us.
Well, fingers crossed you play on Saturday. Unfortunately, it won't be here at St. Mary's. Yep. It'll be up at the game got moved to St. Thomas. Let's talk a little bit about those games and moving forward. Anybody that's followed Cardinal baseball in the last year knows that it was a big 4-2 win against St. Thomas that opened up the MIC tournament last year. Talk a little bit about Saturday's doubleheader against the Tommies.
Yeah, St. Thomas is good. They're good every year. They're ranked, I think, 7th in the nation right now. For us, we really don't focus too much on the other jersey. We know it's the team that's going to win. It's probably going to be the team that makes the least amount of mistakes. That's usually how athletics works. They're good. I think our guys are ready to compete against them, but we don't make it anything bigger than it is. It's just 2 more games in the MIAC, and we'll just go pitch by pitch, and if we do what we need to do, hopefully the results work out for us.
And as you prepare that pregame speech or pregame talk, whatever you want to call it, how do you tell the guys to put last year behind you? Okay, it was great that we won that one. Unfortunately, lost the second one to them. But how do you put last year behind you and focus on what you have to do on Saturday?
Yeah, we talk a ton about it. It's yesterday's box scores. We say that all the time in our program. I'm not big for speeches before games. We work hard all week, and it's time to go. So our guys will be prepared. I'm not too worried about that standpoint. If anything else, you got to just sort of actually have them tone down a little bit and just get back to what we do and focus on going pitch by pitch. So
I'd like to talk about the upcoming schedule, but since we don't really know what it's going to be.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Let's talk a little bit about the conference. how do you see the conference shaking up? Obviously you mentioned St. Thomas being ranked in the 7th in the nation, the top pick in the conference by the coaches. How do you see the conference shaking up this year?
Conference will be extremely tough like it is every year, from top to bottom. Last year I think we had 4 teams fighting for 2 playoff spots going into the last set of games. So I expect it to be the same thing. For us, I think you compare our conference to any other Division III conference in the nation, I think it's going to be tough to beat ours from top to bottom. And that just speaks volumes for the other programs, the university, and the coaching staffs and all the other programs. So our conference is a ton of fun. You need to show up every single day, and you got to have some good weeks, and it could be multiple days in a row if this keeps continuing here, but we'll be fine. We'll deal with it as we go.
How does your depth help you, especially in a year like this where you're right, you may end up with 3 doubleheaders in a 4-day span? Mm-hmm. That depth that you have certainly should help you, especially on the pitching side.
Oh, it's critical. It's absolutely critical. It's such a major part of our game, especially pitching-wise, and then also position player-wise. It's a tougher game mentally than physically a lot of times, and mentally it drains you. So being able to keep people fresh mentally, I think, is key. And obviously having enough arms to weather through this month is going to be it's going to be fun. It's going to give a lot of kids a lot of opportunities. So we're excited to see what happens.
Nick, in 2 weeks we'll have your assistant coach, Pat Jacobson, there in the hot seat where you're at right now. But you have another assistant coach this year, Nick Winecke, former head coach. So kind of role reversal. What's it like having Nick as an assistant
it's
now?
great having Wales back. I played for him for 4 years. I love playing for him. He's a phenomenal baseball coach. And now he's back as one of our assistant coaches. And it's just great. Him and I have been on the same page. The players absolutely love him. He brings a lot of experience, a lot of maturity to our program, which helps out. I'll give him a hard time. He brings a little gray hair into our dugout, which hopefully I don't have quite yet. But having Coach Winecke back has been great. Like I said, the players really respond to him awesome. And I don't think you're going to find a better human being to have around for a role model than him. So it works out awesome for us.
All right, that's going to do it for this segment of the Cardinals Nest. Nick, thanks for being on the program. Good luck here as you get the conference season underway.
Thank you.
All right, stay tuned. Donnie and I will be back. We'll talk softball and more when we return here on the Cardinals Nest on HBC.
Hi, I'm Colleen Bushman, and I am HBC. I'm the Customer Service Director located in the Winona office. I love sewing, photography, and spending time with my new grandson, and HBC Internet allows me to see him anytime I want. HBC's customer service team is here to ensure that every experience you have with HBC is a positive one, whether you're signing up for new service, making changes to your existing account, or just stopping in to pay your bill and say hi. You will always feel welcome when you visit me.
We are HBC.
A state-of-the-art fiber optic network. Sure, you've all heard that. But what does it mean? Well, if you're an HBC customer,
it's television in crystal clear high definition and whole home DVR. Blazing fast internet speeds, perfect for gaming or movies. Phone service with your choice of features, including unlimited long distance. And now, HBC has expanded service throughout much of southeast Minnesota. Call today and see what it's like to be on a state-of-the-art fiber optic network with a local company receiving national recognition for their service.
You know, we're doing things in bus magazines and the newspapers and things like that, and it's just like we seemed like we needed a different media, and we thought, you know, TV, perfect. Laura, she is awesome. She came out the first time. She was very, very personable, tends to your needs. I mean, anything that you needed, she was right there. I literally, seriously, have been wanting to make more commercials just because it was such a great, fun process. I would recommend HBC to anybody.
Call Laura for details on how to get a free commercial for your business.
And we're back here on the Cardinals Nest, the sports show devoted exclusively to St. Mary's University and its athletic programs. Dean Beckman, Donny, Nadeau, and we just heard from Nick Winecke trying to get those baseball games in here with kind of the late winter and the late arriving spring. And Donny, softball in kind of the same boat, though because of the Rochester Dome, they've actually been able to get in 4 conference games, and they've gone 4-0.
Yeah, I think they are in the same boat in terms of trying to play outside. The advantage that the softball team does have is there are domes around the state of Minnesota. You've got the one in Rochester, you've got one in Vadnais Heights, you've got one in Rosemount. Augsburg actually has a bubble that they can put over their field, so they have been able to get some games in. And boy, what a start to the conference season for the Cardinals, picking up 4 straight wins, 2 against Augsburg and 2 against Bethel. And and really, you know, you look at those scores, and certainly the first thing that pops out into your head is the runs that they're producing. You know, you've got 46 runs in 4 conference games is absolutely outstanding, and I know that Coach Miller is certainly happy about the way the team is swinging the bats right now, and nobody is swinging it hotter than Nat Beaucier. You know, she's hitting .714 in 4 conference games. She was named the MAC Player of the Week last week for her performance against Augsburg, and just picked up right where she left off against Bethel, and it's just absolutely on a tear. She's 10 for 14. And you know, nobody can get her out. And
she's batting .604.
Yeah, she's batting .604 for the year. So, I mean,
and that's in 48 at bats.
It's
so, I mean,
incredible.
That's a pretty good sample size.
Absolutely. I mean, she is absolutely just tearing it up. And you can go right down. You know, you're looking at the stats, so you can go right down the order. You've got Paige Carter, who's hitting over 400. You've got Kristen Thielen, who's hitting over 400. And then you've got 6 other people who are hitting above 300. So you know, offensively, they are just doing an outstanding job. And you know, right now, if they can continue to put up runs the way they are, I think that you know, they should certainly be one of the teams that are going to be battling for the conference title at the end of the year. A very big doubleheader next Wednesday, weather permitting. They're supposed to play St. Thomas. St. Thomas is right now ranked number 20 in the nation, and you know, one of the picks to win the conference this year. So that'll be a big test for the Cardinals. But you know, they're playing well right now. They're playing with a lot of confidence. Picked up that big sweep against Bethel. First time since 2007 that they've swept Bethel, so a big 2 wins there, and they're off to a 4-0 start. First time since 1999, Coach Miller's freshman year, that they started the season, the conference season 4-0. So things are really rolling well for them right now.
As we were talking, another run just scored, by the way. But Donnie, we had Jen Miller on the show a few weeks ago, and we talked a little bit about Nat with her. Nat's a first year playing softball. She's a sophomore, though, technically, right? But did Coach Miller expect this kind of offensive production? Did she know that it was going to be to the point where she's batting .604? She's even got a home run in there?
I think Coach Miller knew she was a good ball player, and she was very good in high school. But I'm not sure even Coach Miller could say that she expected someone to be hitting 600 this late in the season. And you know, I do think that, you know, like Coach Winecke said, that it's good to have people that she can put in front and behind her that are also doing very well. And I think that that's you know, certainly an advantage for Nat, and she's benefiting from that, and she's getting a lot of good pitches, and she's making the most of them. And like you said, she did hit her first collegiate home run against Bethel, a 2-run shot in the first inning of that first game, the 10-0 win, and you know, got to tip your hat to Alex Rasky. She followed up in the second inning with a grand slam, and that was her second home run of the year. And I know, talking to Coach Miller, she said it was just a shot too. So you know, they're swinging the bats. They're not only, you know, they're not only scoring a lot of runs, but they're scoring them in timely manners. You look at the second Bethel game, they were down 5-3 going into the top of the 7th inning, and scored 7 runs. And I pointed out to Coach Miller today that heading into that second game against Bethel, they hadn't scored a run in the 7th inning all season, and they scored 7 in the 7th of that game too, when they needed them more than ever. And I think that right now that's going to be a key. Is not only are they getting a lot of hits, but they're getting them in instances when they really need them.
Talked about that grand slam by Alex Rasky that helped her take the team lead in RBIs. She now has 21, and poor Paige Carter, you know, we're hardly talking about her. Any other year, she'd be our focus. She's hitting .458.
Yeah, you look at that. I mean, it is funny when you've got somebody that's statistically the number is so mind-boggling as Nats, that you do forget that there are so many other people. Kristen Thielen's hitting over 400. Like you said, Paige is having a remarkable spring, and you don't want to say it's an afterthought, but with Nats' numbers being so high, I think that, you know, and you hope that benefits the other people, because people become focused on how do we get Nat out. Well, you know, Paige is going to say, hey, throw me the ball, and I'll, you know, and I'll take care of it, and you'll be worried about me too. And I think that, you know, right now, top to bottom, that's the key for them, is they're just hitting so well top to bottom that it's making it very difficult on opposing teams to even figure out how to approach pitching to you, because everybody is hitting so well.
So the Cardinals 4-0 in the conference, 11-4 overall. Now there is another part to the equation there, and that's pitching. And Kayla Peterson, has started 11 games, 3.22 earned run average, and then Paige Carter, she's 3-1 with a 2.79 ERA. So it seems like, at least early on here, the pitching has kind of taken just a little step forward from where it was last year.
No question, and I think that Coach Miller is very happy. You know, Kayla's in her last year. This is her senior year, and wants to go out with a bang, and she's pitching very well. And Kayla knows it, and everybody on the team knows it, that they're going to ride Kayla, you know, hopefully to a conference championship, and she's going to have to shoulder the brunt of the work. You've got Paige coming out of center field to do some pitching when needed, but if the Cardinals are going to be successful, it's going to be Kayla carrying the brunt of the load, and Paige is going to come in and spell her a little bit, give her a little bit of rest, because you're throwing a lot of innings, and then, you know, as we were talking with Coach Winecke, when you start compacting the games. You know, St. Mary's was supposed to play Hamlin on Thursday. They were supposed to play Concordia on Saturday. They were supposed to play Luther on Sunday. All three of them, well, the first two have already been canceled. It doesn't look like they're going to probably play the Luther game. So all those games are just going to keep getting backed up. Now you're going to be playing back-to-back-to-back double headers. It's going to be tough on one pitcher to do that. So they're going to need Paige to be able to come in and give Kayla a rest and let her arm at least rest for a couple of innings before they maybe bring Kayla back in. But, you know, Kayla's going to carry the brunt of the load and really has started out with a very solid start to the spring.
And another solid start to the spring, the men's tennis team, Donnie, 12-4, 3-match winning streak as we speak. They are really playing good tennis right now.
Yeah, they are. And I talked to Coach Hallberg today before they headed up to Bethel for a match up there. And, you know, the biggest thing with the men right now is they're so deep. They have so many different options that Coach Hallberg hasn't had in the past. You know, Mike Lunka, who's been playing #1 singles and #1 doubles for the first 3 years of his career, has been battling some injuries, and the fact that Coach Hallberg's got some talent there, he can give Mike some singles matches off, allow him to rest that back, and you know, be ready for conference play. And you know, Sam Puff has stepped up and doing a really nice job when needed at #1, and you know, Colin Kazarowski, freshman from Suamico, Wisconsin, is just on fire. You know, he's
14-3 overall.
He's 14-3, and you know, absolutely playing, you know, phenomenal tennis, and so it's just nice that Coach Hallberg has some you know, some leverage to work with in terms of if an injury does happen, he's got people that he can put in other areas in the lineup, and it's really paying off. You know, like you said, they're 12-4 right now. The brunt of their conference schedule is still ahead of them, and so they've got some very big matches coming up. I mentioned the Bethel match, and then they've got St. Olaf on Saturday here at home. So a busy week for the guys, and hopefully they'll be up to the challenge.
And of course, the doubles combination of Lunka and Steingraber, 13-4 this year. Donnie, women's tennis quickly. They are 6-6, so looking for some consistency, but it's a very young team, kind of a rebuilding team for Coach Hallberg on the women's side.
No
so
question.
they're holding their own right now.
Yeah, and you give a lot of credit to Deanne Weber. Her and Colin actually the previous week were athletes of the week for the MIAC for tennis, which is a great honor for both Colin and for Deanne. And Deanne is playing outstanding tennis and really kind of giving them that senior leadership that they need. You know, and you're right. Coach Hallberg is looking for a little bit of consistency, but you know, 6-6, and the brunt of their conference schedule is still ahead of them. I think that you know, Coach Hallberg is pretty happy with where they're at right now. I know we're running out of time, but you've got track coming up. They kick off their outdoor season on Saturday. They're at the UW Lacrosse Invitational, so outdoor track begins, and you know, that's officially, now you've officially started your spring seasons when outdoor track kicks off, and I know Coach McMahon is very excited about getting his season going, and hopefully they'll be ready for a good outdoor season.
Yeah, we'll have him on the Cardinals Nest in about 3 weeks. Thank goodness, though, it didn't start any sooner. It would have been a little cold for outdoor track. That's going to do it for this week's Cardinals Nest. Thanks for watching here on HBC-TV 25.